Greetings all, Frog here. Let's play GeoGuessr. We have been challenged. Welcome back to Wade, who is continuing the Civil War challenges of the American Civil War with 1864. Let's get to it. We're on Constitution Highway somewhere in the United States with a yellow license plate, which means likely New York, though not a guarantee, although that also looks like a New York plate, so we'll find out. But it's Constitution Highway. Let's go back there a little bit, see if we get maybe a battleground name or something. Wow, I zoomed way past this. It's a blue sign, or purple. Oh, jeez. I'm tired. Brown sign. Elwood Manor, General Warren's headquarters. Not helpful. Probably if I knew who General Warren was, it would be a lot more helpful, but I don't. Okay, something battalion, infantry, blah, blah, blah. Excellent. It is something 3. I don't remember which state has that symbol, so that's not going to be helpful to us. There's a community college to our left. State Route 3, though, I know that. Between Fredericksburg and Culpeper. Fredericksburg is... I don't think that's New York. I really don't think that's New York. It's 7-Eleven, of course. Because why wouldn't there be? It's the Virginia 3. I was going to say, I thought Fredericksburg was in Virginia, but I didn't want to say anything that sounded really stupid. Culpeper and Lingnum. Fredericksburg the other way. Virginia 3. Virginia. Cumberland. Let's just look for the cities. It'll be easier. There's Culpeper. There's the 3. There's Fredericksburg. We're in between here somewhere. On the Cumberland Avenue. Where is Cumberland Avenue? No, wrong. Constitution Avenue. Wow, I should probably go to bed. We can't! There's too much. There's Lingnum. So we are 9 miles away from Lingnum. There's a community college. How do we get there? We approach from the south. Onto Constitution. Something. Flat Run. Lakeview. Spotswood, Chesterfield, Westover, Eastover, Constitution Highway. There's Elwood Manor House. So we were like here-ish. Pretty close. A little farther along. Read only after part 1. With the start of 1864, Grant had a multi-pronged series of attacks set to press the Confederacy at every side. They would drive through the Shenandoah Valley, Georgia, and Virginia, and defeat the last operating Confederate armies. Grant accompanied the assault on Lee and Richmond, crossing the Rapidan River, is that right? Near the same dense woods, the wilderness, that had snared Hooker the year before. Lee advanced along the road you traveled and the parallel one to the south in order to once again engage the Union Army in the woods. What followed was 3 days of fighting in the heavy brush with many casualties on both sides. Grant pushed south past Lee's army, forcing him to move or be cut off from Richmond. They clashed again at Spotsylvania Courthouse, an even bloodier engagement, but Grant was content to wear Lee down. By attrition. Alright, we're on Cold Harbor Road. There's some cannons. It's battlefield sites, obviously. Cold Harbor Battlefield, Richmond National Battlefield Park. Well, Richmond, Virginia, right? It's crazy how open some of the stuff still is. Richmond, Virginia, down here. Is there Cold Harbor somewhere? Not at this zoom level. I guess I'd have to zoom in. And let's look around first before I get to that point. Virginia 718. Suppose I could look for that. I don't really want to. Gaines Mill Battlefield. Richmond National Battlefield Park. Oh, Pocahontas State Park. You'd think it would be biggish. But how big? It's a fair question. See if we can find 718 somewhere nearby. Wow, this is very dense in terms of the road numbers. No, I want some more. What else we got here? Because we got some other signs here. 156. Well, that's good, because that's a state route. That is not. 156. I saw that. I saw that. Where did I see that? There it is. 156 is here. It's Elko Road. 718, 156. Will's Church Road down here. Richmond National Battlefield. Yeah, but it's different. Market Road. Any Cold Harbor coming off this. Or the 718. John Tyler still has grandkids alive. Down south of the James River now? This doesn't make any sense to me. I got 156 going both directions. Oh God. It goes in a circle. That's just cruel. I lost it. Wow. I don't see 718 anywhere. $710. It's so close. I saw it. I was so excited. And then it wasn't. We're being given every clue we could possibly want and just can't find the place. 7-Eleven. Yep, and then it's done. It does continue past. Because of course it does. What business does it have being this tiny road? It's a state highway. There's Cold Harbor Road. Cold Harbor National Cemetery. Cold Harbor Battlefield. Ooh, 3 points off? It's a little harsh, don't you think? Here, just outside of Richmond, near the small crossroads and inn of Cold Harbor, Lee dug in once more. For 3 days, June 1st through 3rd, Union forces hammered the Confederate lines and succeeded in breaking through momentarily and locally. They were pushed back by counterattacks each time, though, and no ground was gained. Lee's defenses were too strong. It was another lopsided battle with much higher casualties on the Union side. Finally, Grant pulled back and maneuvered again, coming at Richmond from still another angle. Most of the battlefield is now subdivisions and strip malls, with only a couple of parks on either end. On a personal note, my great-grandfather was wounded by a shell fragment just after this battle. He would recover and rejoin the 15th New York Artillery in time for the war's close. Huh, cool. My ancestors were not in this war. I don't think we'd come to America yet. I know at least the English side hadn't. They didn't emigrate until the 1900s. I don't think my mother's side did either, because I know my mother is second-generation American. My father's mother would have been here. No, I think we're all like 1900s, late 1800s, 1900s. I don't think any of us were in the Civil War. I'll have to go check. I'm not the genealogist of the family. Old Highway 41 to overflow parking lot. Kennesaw Mountain National Battlefield Park. I should know where that is. Truly, I should. I don't. Kennesaw is in Tennessee? Georgia? I feel like it's around in there somewhere. You know this. Wait, is that a road sign? No, we're gonna go this way. I mean, it is a road sign, but it's not a route sign. It's Old 41 Highway. By I-75, the Southern Museum, which is this way. The Marietta, that's Georgia. North of Atlanta. There's Kennesaw. See? I know some things. Nothing looks like a park where I would be, though. What's the name of this park? And that is 41. There's Old 41. Oh, here we go. Oh, no. Oh, it's Old Highway 41 up here. There's another one. No. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there's Stillsboro. That's a hiking trail. It's not a parking lot. You think that's the parking lot? I bet it is. It is not. Oh, it's right there. Yeah. Oh, I see now. Yep, should have got a little closer. That's all right. Meanwhile, in the West, General Sherman was charged with following up on the capture of Chattanooga and beginning the drive on Atlanta. Facing him was General Johnston, tasked with defending the city. The two fought a series of battles and skirmishes on the way south, Johnston seeking a defensible position, Sherman testing it and moving past it in a flanking maneuver. That changed at the battle for Kennesaw Mountain. Johnston's provisions on and around the heights sat astride the railroad Sherman needed as his supply line. Sherman believed that the enemy lines were too thin and could be broken by a concerted assault. Just as with the previous stop, it did not go well. He was right about how stretched the Confederate forces were, however, as they were unable to prevent none of his divisions from slipping past to the south, crossing a creek and advancing towards the Chattahoochee River. Seeing the Union near the city, Johnston, once again, had to withdraw. We're in Georgia again, Georgia 139. We'll go see what this overpass is all about. It's the junction of Interstate 20. So 20 and 139. Brilliant. Georgia. US 20. And Georgia 139. There's 139. We went eastish to get here, so we're somewhere in Old Gordon. No, not even close. We're by the Westview Cemetery. Across 20 numerous locations. Amateur move. Sherman was able to maneuver past the river and threatened Atlanta itself. Jefferson Davis, fed up with the General Johnston's retreats, replaced him with the more aggressive General Hood. Hood attacked first in the Battle of Peachtree Creek, but could not drive off Sherman's larger force. He retreated back into the city's defenses, and a siege developed between the end of July and the end of August. Sherman tried repeatedly to move around the city and cut the rail lines that were supplying it, but Confederate troops were always able to repel their advance or repair the damage from raids. The Battle of Ezra Church, where I started, was one such attempt. Eventually, he was able to swing around to the west and accomplish this, and Hood had to abandon the city. Along with the next stop, this victory considerably boosted Lincoln's re-election chances. Atlanta's expansion and development has erased most of the old fortifications and battlefields. Oh, we're in round 5 already. Check that out. It's a fort. Bienville Boulevard. When you think about it, these walls aren't that tall. Star forts were incredibly powerful without needing the height advantage of a castle, apparently. I don't really know how they work. I probably should. It's historic Fort Gaines. Obviously. Site of the Battle of Mobile Bay. Well... What do you think Fort... What is it called? Fort Gaines. Where do you think Fort Gaines is? Which side of Mobile Bay? It's called Battles Wharf. What's this road called? Bienville Road. Apparently there's some beaches. Fort Morgan, it's not what I need. Fort Gaines, Bienville Road. One of the largest naval battles of the war took place here. Once again, Farragut, now a rear admiral, led his fleet against the CSN guarding the entrance to Mobile Bay. In his path were 3 forts: Gaines, which he started by, Morgan, which we saw on the other side, and he says barely visible on the other side of the channel, 4 or 5 miles distance, and Powell off in the corner of the bay. There was also a minefield between the 2 forts to force attackers near their guns. The CSN flotilla consisted of a handful of gunboats led by the ironclad ram CSS Tennessee. The United States Navy had been building up even more, however, and had 8 wooden ships, 4 ironclad monitors, and 6 smaller vessels. Most of the action took place by Fort Morgan, but that side has a crap camera and worse signage. As the fleet sailed around the point, the armored ships inside to shield their wooden cousins to the rear. As they rounded the point, they engaged with the Confederate fleet and the fort. The monitor clone Tecumseh strayed too close to the minefield, hit a torpedo, and sank within minutes. This is where the famous line on the sign was... I cannot read this. This is where the famous line on the sign was supposedly spoken, as Farragut ordered his squadron forward past the mines and clear the fort. The smaller CSN gunboats were disabled or driven off, and the Tennessee fought on alone. Although she defended determinedly, she was too slow to catch and ram the opposing ships and was eventually crippled by the combined firepower of the Federal fleet. The forts were cut off, surrounded by land troops, and surrendered a couple days later. The number of ports for even blockade runners to operate out of was steadily shrinking. That, my friends, is the American Civil War Challenge 1864 edition, stretching from Virginia down to Mobile, Alabama. And I look forward to the concluding chapter, which will be 1865 of Wade's Civil War Challenge. Very cool. Thanks so much for sending this one in. If you'd like to make your own challenge, of course, you can go to geoguessr.ml to put in 5 locations, which gives you a link that you sent to me over a private message on YouTube, and I will add you to the channel. Thanks again, Wade, for sending this one in. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys did too. If you did, click the like button. Subscribe to the channel to stay updated to everything as it happens. And until next time, cheers.